Good morning. Sergeant First Class Reginald Knight retired, reporting. As the government shutdown drags on, I thought it good that we do a little history lesson on this Monday morning. And I'll be talking about Woodrow Wilson, who served as president for two terms from 1913 to 1921. Woodrow Wilson is from my home state of Georgia. He and Jimmy Carter are the only two presidents that are from Georgia. But the problem with Woodrow Wilson was he was a extreme segregationist and racist. Growing up in the South, he supported the Confederacy and the so-called Lost Cause. He supported the Klan openly. And in fact, D.W. Griffith released his horrendous film, Birth of a Nation, while Woodrow Wilson was in office, and he screened it at the White House and said that everything about it was completely true. He resegregated the federal government, which erased a lot of gains that blacks had made since Reconstruction. And he was a former president of Princeton University. And while he was president at Princeton, he refused to let any blacks be admitted to that prestigious university. In fact, he was such a racist that Woodrow Wilson required photographs on all federal applications. That way you could be screened and denied and save yourself the trouble. Now, what happened to Woodrow Wilson? Well, very similar to what you're seeing Trump experience right now. After World War I, Woodrow Wilson was big on this idea of the so-called League of Nations, which was a precursor to the UN. And he labored and gave a lot of speeches about it, thinking that, this cooperation between nations would prevent war. But the only problem was, because of his extreme racial views, it never took hold. Japan wanted to insert a racial equality clause into his charter, and Woodrow Wilson refused to accept it. In fact, he politicked against it. He went so hard on this League of Nations idea that he eventually had a stroke, leaving him paralyzed completely on his left side. And when he left office, he moved to New York and spent most of his time being taken care of by his wife, where he finally succumbed to his injuries in 1924. So don't think for 1 minute anything that Trump is doing right now is new. With this DEI business and him and Hegseth trying to literally erase all the achievements that people of color that have done for this country, we've seen it before. A friend of mine on TikTok sent me a video this morning that was talking about the Rosie the Riveter and how that black women played an instrumental part of building all those planes and tanks and weapons during World War II, which was years after Woodrow Wilson. But because of his policies, they got half the pay. They had to live and work in segregated facilities. And at the end of the war, those black women were fired and forgotten about. But I'm sure everyone has seen a photo of that woman who took that picture for Rosie the Riveter. And trivia question, she only worked at that job for 2 weeks. when many black women worked for the entire duration of the war and have never been honored or mentioned again. So, good morning. Hope that's a little history you want to dig into. And let's just hope this thing breaks soon, but I don't see any sign of that occurring right now. Sergeant First Class Reginald Knight, retired, reporting. Have a good day.